What's up, guys? Brent Hess here with Cagezilla Unchained, brought to you by the Wild Style Network. We're here talking about Cagezilla 85 coming up June 28th, and we are talking to our one half of our flyweight title fight, 125 pounds, Kaelob Alger. Kaelob, how you doing today, my man? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on again. It's always a pleasure.
Yes. No, it is my pleasure. Give us a little bit, for those who might not have seen our first interview. Give us a little bit of kind of your background, your upbringing, and possibly kind of like what led to the sport of MMA for you.
So I got into martial arts when I was like 13 years old. Mainly from seeing like different guys like Conor McGregor and John Jones, kind of like guys that would, get the media kind of stirred up, and for whatever reason, that was what was on the front line of online at that point, and it caught my eye. And then I would watch some of these guys' fights, and I was very intrigued on like the stuff they were doing, and it just it seemed like a lot, sort of like WWE, which is something that I was a fan of growing up, and I thought that was real. It wasn't. And once I found out that there was something similar on the same type path as that, but it was actually, it took some real work to get good at, I wanted to do that instead. So I switched over to MMA. I found my first gym, and it was just pretty much from there. I just started dumping my entire life into it. I taught or took my entire teenage years, and I was going from school straight to practice, straight to sleep, and repeating it every single day. I was working 2 jobs at the time, and that was it. All I wanted was MMA, and I put everything into it, and I feel like it kind of paid off, man, because here I am, doing some good stuff at the amateur level, and looking to go pro at the end of the year. So
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you got a great. I remember when you first came onto the scene at Cagezilla, and you were an exciting guy to watch. Really had my eye on you, and now you moving forth into this next chapter. Man, I'm really happy for you. Really proud of you, and not a better guy that I could think of to put into that flyweight title slot. And we'll get into that in a sec. But along your journey, I always like to kind of see some of the big influences that kind of have shaped you, not only as a person, but as an athlete as well. Share with us a little bit about some of your big, powerful influences that have helped you along the way.
So mostly, personal life would be my mother. I'm a big mama's boy, and me and my mom, we've always been like this growing up, and just, yeah, if I ever needed anything, man, any support, she's always been the first one right there in the line to help me achieve my goals, and support me, be cheering me on from she's walk outside every fight, and
Oh, wow.
when I get these shirts on, this Killer K shirt here,
Hey.
everybody wears them, man. So she's one of my biggest supporters outside of it. And then like when it comes to the actual training room, man, like Josh Hummer, that's my coach. And I was a lost independent fighter when I found him. I fought for the Cagezilla title as an independent fighter against John D. Fuller, who was just, respectfully, I'm a very humble and realistic person. I was not taking the sport as serious as I needed to be at that level at the time. I had no coach, I had no team. I was just kind of hitting the heavy bag in one life, and cross training at different gyms, maybe once a week if I was lucky, driving an hour and a half, 2 hours each way. And it was working for a little bit, because you're kind of, no disrespect to the guys that I was fighting before that fight, but like, there's a lower level, there's a middle level, there's a higher level. And when you get past the low level, you go to the middle level. And when you get past that, now you're with the big boys, and now you're fighting guys who've been doing this stuff since they were 7, and they've been doing it the right way since they were 7. So that was a big lesson for me. So I had to go find somebody to help guide me and navigate me to where I actually wanted to be if I wanted to make this a reality. And Josh Hummer was the guy who, you know, not only did I find, but was willing to dump all of his resources into me and help me and, treat me like a son, honestly. And now, obviously I was already at that level when I came with him, so he had to work out some kinks in my game and stuff. We took a couple tough losses, but now, man, everything feels like it's starting to come together, and it's just the chemistry that we have is amazing. I think everything is working out perfectly now. And then when it comes to like training partners and stuff like that, Elijah Harris, he's fighting this Saturday actually in Jacksonville, Florida on a short notice fight.
Mm.
But he just came off the fourth fastest BKFC knockout in history. He's like a 20 fight MMA pro veteran, man. He's done it all. He's literally like one of my main training partners. And so it always helps to have him there, not only advice wise, but like skillfully. And just, as a brother, man, like it's just, yeah, it's amazing to have that guy in my corner. And then Isaiah Brooks, he's just a savage himself, like,
Yeah.
man, like I could go up and down the line of people that I have in my corner that are pro fighters that have been just doing this stuff their entire life and have taken me under their wing and treated me like their own family. And,
Yeah.
I really feel like it has accumulated into what I am now and where I'm headed, which is, like I said, I think I'm going to be a pretty damn solid pro fighter. And I think you'll see me in the UFC in a couple of years.
Yeah, man, I have no doubt. And you kind of, it started with your passion and you just being independent, and all of these blessings kind of floated your way, right? Yeah, and based on your coach and your teammates and just the team that surrounded you, and have now kind of molded you into a new version of Killer K, because I've certainly seen a new version of you inside of the cage since you first started fighting, and I can kind of see what you mean by that transformation and some of those learning experiences that you had. That really in the amateurs, that's where you're supposed to get it, right? So that way when you turn pro, you don't have to have those learning lessons, and you can really put the pedal to the metal, as they say, and really kind of try to keep that O on the end of your record as long as you can, right? And so that's beautiful, man. Now it's kind of unique. Now you're in a flyweight title fight here, a much deserved title fight. You earned it. Let's just put that out there right away. You earned it against a tough guy in your last fight here on Cagezilla 84. I thought you dominated pretty much every single round there versus Idris. He was a tough customer, but man, you really had a decisive, dominating win over him. And it's kind of unique how this fight came together as far as you being in the title picture. You should be there, right? You fought Mayo for the number one contender spot. It was kind of like a back and forth fight that didn't really, it could have gone either way in my opinion, and the judges didn't see it your way. Mayo went on to fight John D in our last event for the title. He lost. And so, I mean, John D is now vacating the belt. He has aspirations to turn pro. I know you probably wanted that one back, as a Killer K 2.0 versus John D. I think that would be a heck of a match as well. But ultimately, you want to leave with that gold wrapped around your waist, and so first of all, let's rewind a little bit. Tell us what kind of insight you gained from your last two fights inside of the Cagezilla cage that you can kind of bring forth with you and help you moving forward in your fight career.
Yeah, man. So I had a tendency to kind of get wrapped up in the Killer K persona, if that makes any sense, and come out there and just kind of, I feel like I was just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what would stick at times. I really wasn't fighting with any real focus, I would say. And I learned a hard lesson it was probably 4 fights ago or whatever, but I got knocked out in 13 seconds, man. I came out and I rocked him, and I got a little bit reckless and ended up eating canvas. And
Yeah.
that taught me a very hard lesson of a lot happened in 13 seconds, man. I almost got him out of there, and then I
Yeah.
got put out myself.
Yeah. I
So
commentated that fight. I was there. It was you're talking about Strickland, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I what I learned from that was just like, man, I got all the skill in the world, but I need to fight a little bit smarter. So that was the biggest focus going into any fight after that. And it was definitely a little bit of a worry for me because, obviously after getting knocked down in 13 seconds, you step back in the cage, you don't know how you're going to feel. You don't know how you're going to react. Like, I mean, that's just all, like you don't really have a lot of control, or
Yeah.
at least I didn't have a lot of control in those moments before then. But then when I got back in there for my first ever 15-minute fight, I went the distance. I lost a split decision. That was for a title. I was in another promotion. And then I came back to Cagezilla for the McKinney fight. And, dropped back down to the 3-3s, and I felt like a brand new fighter. Obviously I hadn't proved that I could wrestle just yet. Everybody just know me as mainly just a striker. And, McKinney was a good striker, a very good striker. He was coming off 4 knockout wins. And the old Kaelob would have sat in the middle and just exchanged with him and waited for somebody to lose. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
me, now, this new version that wants to be in the UFC, wants to be a UFC champion, wants to make the most out of everything that I can in this sport, you got to fight the guy where he's not good at. And from watching tape and doing my study, I realized, like, okay, he gives up takedowns. And that is definitely a area where I can expose in this fight. So
Yeah.
his range was very good. He could control the range very well. I felt like whenever I was entering for those combinations of punches and strikes against McKinney, I feel like he kept his distance very well. And there was not many attacks on the feet there for me due to the range, at least that night. So, but what was that lead leg? He's a southpaw guy. That lead leg was there, and every
Yeah.
single time I've seen it, I grabbed it. And I definitely learned some very valuable things when it comes to winning rounds and scoring in the judge's eyes, because you have to advance position, you have to cause damage and attempt submissions and stuff like that. So there was less activity on top than I would love or would have liked. So they did not go my way that night. But I've made peace with that, man, because it is what it is. I've proved in that fight that I could wrestle, and that was the main thing for me and my coaches and my team was just like, okay, let's prove that we're a martial artist here. We're not just a striker.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we did. And then this last one, coming into it, I knew he was a very game guy. I knew that he was gonna stand down in the pocket at times. He was longer. He was pretty big, man. I'm sitting in the tunnel in the back, and I'm like next to him. I'm like, damn, this guy's pretty big. Like
Yeah.
he was pretty big, and I knew he was gonna have his things that he brought to the table that was gonna be challenging. But man, I was just ready. Like I said, I was ready to not leave it a question anymore. Like the last fight, McKinney fight, you could be like, oh, damage is on this guy's side, controls on this guy's side. No, the damage and the control was on my side this time, and that's how it will be leading forward in every single fight.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I've learned is just like, it's a fist fight at the end of the day, man. Like damage matters. And that's what I'm coming to do to every single person that steps in that cage against me now is I'm coming to damage you and make sure that those rounds leave on my side.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, in my opinion, from just that change, and it's good to hear your perspective on it. Obviously, you're the man in the arena. But from me, and I commentated both your Mayo fight and the Idris fight, and man, one thing that was consistent was your grappling has gotten a lot better, right? So like from your first fights that I've seen way back, you didn't really have a ton of grappling. Like you say, you were the KO king. You either went in there to KO somebody or you went out on your shield, right? And so now you're incorporating the grappling. Now, one thing that I noticed in the Idris fight that you did really well was you mixed both together. It was almost like you were doing I saw some really good striking moments from you. You plugged him with a hard right hand. I believe it was in the first round. That stunned him, and then you started mixing in your grappling. In the Mayo fight, it was pretty much all grappling, right? So, I think that for you mixing those together was really you mixing your grappling now with those powerful strikes that you have is the way to go, man. I think that's gonna be your way moving forward, because it's no doubt in my mind you can hurt guys with your hands, right? It's not like you need to wrestle all the time, but for you to mix those together, I think is gonna be your secret sauce, man. And that's my 2 cents. Now, moving into your flyweight title fight here. Luckily, you have a qualified, hungry dance partner on June 28th. Micah Deutsch. He's a young, undefeated prospect. He's got a lot of hype behind him. He's represented already by Sucker Punch Entertainment. Who represents a lot of UFC fighters, all kinds of guys. But still has a lot to prove, in my opinion, Deutsch does. Tell us, Kaelob, what do you know about young Micah Deutsch heading into your big flyweight title fight here?
I mean, I do plenty of tape study and footage study. Man, like I break down my opponents. I feel like I do it pretty well. So I've been breaking him down, been watching some of him, how he talks, how he fights, and he seems like a cool kid, man. Like, yeah, but what I do know is that the facts is this is his 3rd fight. This is my 9th fight. He's very young in his journey. I have went through those losses. I have grown and became a better fighter, and I feel like I'm my final amateur product right now. I feel like he still makes a lot of mistakes. I feel like he is, like I said, very young in his journey. He's very talented, though. Like, I mean, I can see why Sucker Punch picked him up, man. More so, honestly, what most impresses me about this guy is not his skill. It's his confidence, man. He reminds me of me, and that sometimes can be a very big asset in the cage, man. That attitude. Like, when you have that, you believe that what you're doing has a purpose, and that right there can help certain things be successful for sure. So I definitely admire his mindset and his attitude. I think that right there will make for a fun fight, because I got the exact same mindset and this exact same attitude. So man, at this point, it's like I said, we're gonna see. I love the matchup, but I'm here to show him that experience matters, and he has not been through what I have been in this sport. He's 2-0 at bantamweight, and he's dropping down to 25. And I was in that exact same position before I fought John D. Fuller. I was 2-0 at bantamweight, and I was making all the waves, and everybody, they were hyped up on me, and I dropped down to 25 and fought John D., who was a much more experienced guy, and I'm not trying to foreshadow anything, but I got finished in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I got out of that cage, and I knew that is a level that I need to reach. I'm not there just yet. And I believe that when Micah gets out of the cage on June 28th, he's going to realize he took a little bit too much off than he's ready for right now. But I think ultimately it'll send him in the upward trajectory no matter what, because he's going to feel what it's like to be in there with a pro level fighter, a guy who's ready to go pro, and he'll just grow from that, man. Like there really is no negative from him taking this fight with me other than his win streak has to stop. That's it.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome insight from you. I mean, you really done your thinking and understood that he's at bantamweight, moving down to flyweight. You were in that same boat. You had that same confidence, and it's weird. Must be weird to see a younger version of yourself go.
Yeah.
You know, you're going up against it, right? Like in a sense, right? A younger version of
Yeah.
yourself, and that's interesting, man. You're here to teach him that lesson. Now you finally got the title fight, something I know you've been chomping at the bit for, man. It's right in front of you, right in your grasp. I don't think you're gonna let this young buck just come in here and take it from you, man. Tell us, Kaelob, what should everyone expect to see from Killer K? What kind of energy should we expect to see come fight night on Cagezilla 85 on June 28th?
Every single fight, you guys have been seeing a new, improved version of myself, and man, a lot of it is because I work hard and I'm learning every single day. I train my ass off, but a lot of it is because you guys have only seen the surface. You guys have not really seen what I'm capable of, and every single time that I step out there, that is my goal, is to show you something new, something different. So for my opponent, Micah, if you're doing your research, yeah, I fight different every fight, man. It ain't gonna help. I'm coming out to show a absolutely new version of myself. Um, everywhere, he's a fun fighter, so you guys are gonna get a fun fight for as long as this thing lasts. But I do not plan on letting it get to the judges' scorecards. And that's that, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to go out here and have my perfect ending to my amateur career. And get that title, man. So.
That's awesome, man. And I hope you don't leave too quickly. Maybe you can defend it at least once before you leave. And so we'll see. But, man, I'm really excited to see you in there. Like I say, I couldn't think of a more deserving flyweight to be in there. I think you versus John D are former champion. I thought would have been a nice one. It would have been some history there as well. But you up against, like you say, a younger version of you, an up and comer, a guy coming down from 35 to 25, trying to make a statement in the flyweight division early in his career, is really kind of like another full circle moment that could be nice for you as well, right? Like you going against John D would have been a certain level of kind of just proving something to yourself, but this also will prove something to you as well, right? Coming down and seeing a guy who's coming down from bantamweight, young guy, a lot of hype behind him, and you just kind of putting the stop to that, right?
Yeah, I was about to say he does have a lot of hype, man. He's got like 14,000 Instagram followers, which I mean, at the amateur level, man, that's impressive. Somehow you got that attention, and I'm here to steal it. So
yeah, you want all his fans. All right.
Yeah, hopefully I get all 14,000, man, on my stuff after that. That'd be nice, dude. I'm sitting at like 300 right now, so.
All right. We're gonna ask you at the end of this a way that we can follow you. Before we do, though, I always like to collect a quote or a motto or something powerful that maybe has empowered you, shared to you by your coaches or teammates, or something you've read that you can pass along and possibly share with our Cagezilla audience here.
Yeah, so I had one last time that was we fall but we get up because the ground is no place for a champion. Instead of saying that one again, that one I've kind of already explained that meaning. I'm gonna draw one from my coach, something my coach says all the time, and it really does help whenever you are in the cage and just in that mode anyway. Is knowing is not enough, you must apply. And basically what that means is like you can know all the techniques in the world, but if you don't know how to apply them, then they do you no good,
Right.
So I believe, I've known a lot of things, and you learn everything, you learn new things every single day, but it takes time to learn how to apply them in real speed, real time, against a real opponent, and that's why I go back to that, experience matters, man. It's like, yeah, he looks like he knows a lot of techniques. He looks like he knows a lot of stuff. He's got some good people around him, but there's only one way you learn how to apply that, and that is through real time in the cage. And to his, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 minutes in the cage that he has, I have about 45 minutes. So we got a lot of cage time, man. And, all these different techniques, man, I'm starting to learn how to apply it. So, yeah, so knowing is not enough. You must apply. From my coach Josh Hummer. So
I like that one, man, and that applies obviously to fighting, but it applies to life, right? Like you could read as many books as you want on whatever given subject, right? Computers or right 3D printing or whatever you want to read about, but if you're not applying it, then and you don't know how to actually make it happen, then what good does it really do you? And those consequences are a little more dire when you're in the cage fighting, right? So.
For sure.
So that's insightful on you, man, to be thinking about that. And you got a great coach and Coach Josh there at Tactical Combat Academy. So that's amazing also. Well, give us a way we can follow you guys, man. Give us a way before we leave here where we can follow you on Instagram, show you a little love, maybe pick up a Killer K merch, some Killer K merch, a t-shirt. I don't know if we can buy those yet, but
yes.
give us a way we can do that, support you and support your team a little bit.
So myself, I'm at Kaelob MMA. So that's Kaelob MMA. My coach or our gym page would be at Coach Josh TCA. There's an underscore somewhere in there, but I'm not really sure. But and then as far as the t-shirts, man, I got my own website. It's a Shopify website. So if you go to my Instagram at Kaelob MMA and you look in the link, the links. It'll take you right to the website. You can go ahead and order yourself. I got probably 10 different variations of Killer K shirts that I've had throughout all these walkouts. I got hoodies on there and everything else, man. So, yeah, just trying to build the Killer K brand, dude. So
nice.
That's how you keep content.
I love it, man. Yeah, I follow you. You post up a lot of good stuff, and I'm going to go on and check out those links. And, man, you guys go out, support Killer K. He's coming up on a huge title fight here. Kaelob, thank you for coming out, first of all. I know you got tons of stuff going on here and between training and different stuff you might have. So thanks for coming on. I hope training and everything continues to go awesome for you and you stay healthy and everything leading up into this big title fight for you. And, man, thanks once again for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yep. All right, guys. There you have it. Kaelob Alger, Killer K, will be fighting for our 125-pound flyweight title come June 28th on Cagezilla 85. Make sure you guys are picking up tickets at cagezillatickets.com. Until next time, much love and respect. We'll see you guys all very soon.